Ian here from Dark Blades Workshop. This is the second part of the Credence tutorial. In this one we're doing the cloth, so we're doing the robes, the shirt, and then we'll move on to the face, and then we'll do a bit of work on the wood grain. There's little bits of wood dotted around in the magical cloud that surrounds him, so we'll be covering that as well. To give you a sneaky peek into the third part, we'll be moving on to the pigments that I use to just make the shadows and different parts of the miniature more interesting, so just changing the tone slightly here and there. And then we'll be doing adding on things to the base as well, like little bits of rusted wheels and more wood and newspapers and stuff like that. So let's get on with it. Hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
So I've got a mix of browns on the palette now, and I'm using Vallejo's Flat Earth, I think it is, this one here, as the base coat. And I'm not going to bore you with me painting this, so I'll carry on off camera. Let's get a nice even coverage. So I've got a wash for the wood, wood grain, just watered it down. Let's give it a quick coat. It's about 1 part paint, about 2 parts water. Or if you got Agrax or something like that, that'll do. I'll carry on doing the rest of the wood. Okay, so while that wash is drying, I've got some flesh tones now. I'm using about 50% Cadian flesh and 50% Kislev flesh, because I want his face to be quite light. And just put one coat on for now. Probably take 2 coats. Also, don't forget that little bit of wood there, because I did. I only just noticed it when I was doing the washes. So, pick out the hands as well. And I'll probably do the second coat off camera and we'll come back. So I've done a couple of coats of the flesh. I'm using Reichland Flesh Shade now. Just to shade the skin. We'll see how that dries. In the meantime, I'm going to start on the wood. So I've got the original Flat Earth, and I'll just start picking out the wood grain. Obviously you don't have to do this, but I'm a fussy bugger. You can just dry brush this if you like, but you'll get the same result, I would have thought. If you got plenty of time on your hands, this is quite therapeutic. don't need a small brush. I'm using a size 1 here, but it has got a nice point on it. I'll just do this section. I'll do the rest off camera then. So that's the flat earth done. I'll highlight it with, I think it's Japanese uniform, World War II. I've got a 50-50 mix of that and the flat earth first, just to see what it's like. So I'm going to use this wood recipe for a while. Just using the tip of the brush. Just to pick out the grain. And the Japanese uniform on its own. I'll just pick out some other areas that try and make it more interesting, like the top of this. This part here, because it's like it's been cut into it. I'll just pick out the odd bit. If you want to add a bit of contrast, you'll need like a dark brown again, like the wood grain, or if you've got armor brown, just to reinforce the shadow areas. So I've got wood grain again. I'm just going into the deepest parts there to reinforce the shadows. As I say, if you haven't got time to do this, just get a dry brush on it, because there's quite a bit of wood on this model, but I do like to have a nice little bit of wood grain on there. And if you're up for it, do different colour woods around the model. But I'm going to carry on doing the wood grain, and we'll come back in the next stage. So I've done a bit on the wood grain here, so I'm fairly happy with that. So I'm going to do these rails now, and I'm using Vallejo's burnt iron. Doesn't really matter what metal you use, really. If you've got Citadel metals, just add a little bit of grey to it, or a little bit of brown, just to dull it or mute it. I like this burnt iron, it's one of my favourite metals actually. Right, just going to leave that. Move on to the next stage. I think the face, we can do some work with that now. So back to the skin. I've got a 50-50 mix of Cadian flesh and Kislev flesh. I'll just start working on the skin. If you want a more detailed tutorial on the skin, I think it's episode 17. I think we paint the face of Lucius Malfoy. Use exactly the same colours on that, so if you take a look at that one, it's a much better one. But basically I'm doing the forehead, the nose, the cheeks, the chin and the corner of the jaw in this mix of colour, and then just highlight up the same areas. Just move into pure Kislev flesh now. And that'll be the nose. I think I was a bit heavy-handed with the wash on the top of the hand there, so bring it back. So pure Kislev flesh again. I'll do a second coat on the nose, top of the eyebrows, those cheekbones, top lip and chin. And then knuckles. So I've added a bit of flayed one flesh to the Kislev flesh now for an extra highlight. So I'll just dot the top of each knuckle, and same again, nose, just the back of the cheekbone. You know, I'm not coming around the front of the face with this highlight, it's just at the side. Just get a little bit of the top lip and a little bit of the brow. Right, I think I'm happy with that. So for a shirt, I've got Vallejo's burnt red. I notice there's a little bit of red in the fold of this cloak as well, so I'll just put it in there now. Okay. Continue with the shirt. I've added a bit of, I don't know, I think it was a lighter red to the burnt red colour, and I'm going to try and pick out the fold or the crease in the shirt and the line that runs down the middle and each collar corner. I'll do a couple of coats of this just to make sure I pick it out properly. I have to go a bit lighter, I think. that's not too bad. Right, I'm going back to my Shades of Doom colours for the suit that he's wearing. So the Necro Grey, I used this on I think it was the Slytherin students. I'm going to use this for his jacket. It's a nice dark greeny grey. Just take your time and make sure you don't get this bit of cloth that's coming over his shoulder, because that's not part of his jacket. It's just the sleeve here and the top of the jacket there. So I'm just going to tidy up this bit of cloth here that's we haven't really hit it with the airbrush there. So I've got I was guessing now, it's I think it's German grey. I'm just going to go in as far as I can against the suit and the shirt. Just to get rid of that lightness that was there earlier. And the top part of this bit of cloth as well. I'll leave that red in the recess. And I've got a lighter grey here, might be the blue grey. Just give this a quick highlight. Right. I need to give the figure a blast with a hairdryer in a minute to make sure everything's dry in a minute. So I'll just pick out the collar again and that crease, but I think it's still wet. So I'll give it a blast with the hairdryer and we'll come back. Okay, I'm still trying to push that highlight on the shirt with I think I'm up to orange red now, and I've gone to a smaller brush. And I was picking out the crease, the top of the shirt on the right hand side, and the collar edge. And I think I'll do about 2 or 3 coats of that just to pick it out over time. Well, I don't want to go any brighter than that. For the back to the jacket, I've got the Rie Grey from the Shades of Doom set, and I've added a bit of Miskatonic Grey to it for the highlight. And I'm just going to pick out the creases of the sleeve. And the edge of the lapel of the jacket. And there's the creases on the other side. That should do for that. Maybe another coat later, we'll see how it goes. I forgot the coat goes. The lapel of the jacket runs under here as well, so I'll just give that an edge highlight with the edge of my brush. The hair I did with German grey. I was going to highlight that now. I'll try it anyway. Let's pick out a couple of strands at the front, I think, and at the top. I'm not going to do any more than that, really. I'll have to do the eyes off camera, but I think we're getting there. I'm going to mess about with pigments in a minute. So I'll come back at the next stage. Apologies, I had to do the eyes off the camera. Best way I found was to hold it on its side, and then I used ivory, and I started towards the bridge of the nose and just pulled a line out, and then for dotting I went straight in from the front. Usually I turn it and try to get as close as I can to the middle, but with this one, because of these bits here and here, it made it a bit awkward, so I had to go in from the front really, but they're done anyway, so, and they're not looking too bad. I was going to mess about with pigments, wasn't I? Right, let's get that sorted and we'll come back on the next stage.